I used to view my hometown as a place I wanted to escape, but it took me a while to truly understand what it actually was that I was escaping from. Like most smaller communities, it's easy to get lost in a smaller perspective. There isn't much to do here at first glance, and there definitely isn't a lot special about it, except for how simple it is and how content it is. Nights are spent driving around the same small streets, parking in random parking lots, gathering in basements or random fields and buildings. You have your group of friends, and they end up being the people who you feel understand you. You dream of bigger things and make the most of what you have while you work to get there. I actually don't mind this place at all. It's simple. My name is Alexa Blyan. I'm 19 years old and I'm from Lloydminster, Alberta. Lloydminster is a small town. It's on the border of Alberta and Saskatchewan. Like any place, it has its faults. Growing up in Lloyd, it was kind of just quiet for me. I spent a lot of my time alone. I'd go to the park and sit or write at the top of JC Hill. I was always told this town has a curse on it. That you'll always be stuck here and you'll never be able to get out and you're just kind of succumb to this town. And I was always intrigued by that. It always stuck out to me because I never really understood what that meant. Like, how can you be stuck here? Can't you just leave? And then you get older and you realize the curse is just another word for cycle. Growing up, my mom taught me as much as she could about our culture, and she learned as much as she could along the way to teach us more. If I have children one day, I'm scared I won't be able to pass down the culture enough, or I won't be able to teach it properly.
Okay, we need butter. Because the mousse is really lean, right? So it's not gonna grease up. Just let that melt, and then you're gonna fry up your ground mousse, and then we're gonna put it in the rest of our ingredients. I was in labor for 4 days. Nothing worked, and then on the 4th day, Alexa came like 3 hours in, and I learned that she will do things in her own time. The more that I resist it and the more I try to force her, the harder it's going to be. So I don't try to force her to do anything. I just support her, and I'm grateful for it.
My grandmother, my cookum, she's a residential school survivor, and because of it, she didn't teach her kids her language because she felt like they would be attacked for it. She didn't practice a lot of those traditional practices because she was scared to. I think what drives me to talk about missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls is seeing how much pain there is around my community, around my friends, seeing how much it's actually affected pretty much every single person I've met in ways that they don't even realize, in ways that they can't see. Seeing how undeniable the issue is what drives my passion.
An estimated 1,000 to 4,000 Indigenous women have gone missing or been murdered since the 1970s. In the past year, I've had 4 of my friends go missing. I feel I will become another statistic. I've even been told not to refer to myself as First Nations. Why does pretending to be someone I am not make me safer? I am Alexa Blyan, I am First Nations, and I refuse to be next. Thank you. Hi, hi.
Indigenous women in Canada are definitely treated differently. You hear words like genocide. This is genocide of Indigenous women. That's me. That's genocide of people like me. The hardest part about living in Lloydminster would be the racism and ignorance that exists there. In high school, I was really quiet. I didn't say much. I definitely didn't defend myself or stick up for myself very much. It made this space for people to treat me like I was weaker than them or like I was different than them. I kind of just was doing what I had to do to fit in. Mrs. Bruce created a space within the school where I felt accepted, I felt safe, and I felt like I had nothing to worry about.
Hi, Mrs. Bruce. Oh my God. Hello. How are you?
Being in Mrs. Bruce's room was a place where I knew that I was okay, and I knew that I was accepted, and I knew that my education was more important than everything else going on in the school. When I came in here, being able to be myself, and then eventually learning to be willing to be myself, and willing to just not be afraid of who I am, and just being proud of who you are and where you come from, and taking that strength from that feeling. And if I didn't introduce myself and start coming here and hang out here, I don't even think I would have graduated.
My daughter, the other day, she brought home a award from her school, and her teacher wrote on it, "I see you, Sadie." That's what we want, right? To be seen. Like, I see you through your hurt, I see you through your anger, I see you through the way you treat me, right? If somebody, some of the students, they come in with behavior problems, but seeing them matters. When I first started here, when this room just started to become developed, going in the hallway and seeing all our Indigenous youth dispersed throughout, absolutely disconnected. So having this safe space for them to come and be connected to their culture, whether it's reclaiming it or learning it for the first time, was important. You needed it, right? You found each other and you were able to build such a beautiful connection with these girls.
You don't realize how special and rare a connection like me and my friends, like a group like that, how rare that is to find in a community like this, because it's so hard to build and maintain. I have some friends, and they're some of the most amazing people. Santana is the most bubbly, happy person. She's always taking care of us, always making sure that we have our heads on straight, and she really is good at helping you see things from different perspectives. Riley, when you first meet her, she won't say a lot, but underneath she has a whole lot going on in her head, and I find it to be the most fascinating thing ever. And she will never, ever give up on you. Lisa is sweet, kind. She's always welcoming of everyone. She avoids negativity as much as she can and always brings in the positivity. Morgan is one of the funniest people that I know.
What if this ends up on Netflix? We could be famous.
She's also the quietest person I've ever known, and I love that about her. Tanisha is my best friend. I'd have to say. She gets me in ways that other people don't, and she's always willing to expand her horizons, which I love about her. My roommates and I, we watch a TV series, and it's the story of this girl escaping a violent relationship. And it talks about domestic violence and emotional abuse. So my friends and I all watched that, and through it, at different points, we'd each cry, and we'd each have something we could relate to. There were times I knew it was happening because it was undeniable, but I don't think there was ever a time that I knew it was abuse. seeing an outsider's perspective on how trauma looks and how violence looks in a person made me realize that I had been through it, that other people were going through it, that I cared about. Then I realized this isn't something I can stay quiet about anymore.
I noticed violence in my house, and it was a basic everyday thing, and I thought it was normal in my life.
What I was living through was not alright. That I was a young person just taking care of my little brother.
I was diagnosed with several mental illnesses at a very young age.
Digital Voices is a video project I created, free of judgment, free of stigma, free of bias, just a place where you can be real and raw with your story and you have no fear of what people are gonna say, what people are gonna think. It's just a place to be you and be accepted. I'm not really sure where I want to take Digital Voices. I just know that I want to continue meeting people and I want to continue creating videos and creating that community because it's been something that's absolutely changed my life. Digital Voices, as much as it's for other people, it's for me because being part of a community of people who are willing to talk about their story and willing to be open with me about things in life that I spent a lot of my time not feeling like I was able to talk about helps me too. My mom always tells me that my role in this world is to be a cycle breaker, you know, to break cycles of abuse, break cycles of intergenerational trauma, and create a different future. And I never really understood that because I'd always look at her and say, well, you did that. She got herself away from a toxic childhood and she's created a business for herself. She has a master's degree. And I always wondered why she thought she didn't break the cycle. As you get older, you realize that through each generation, the trauma is going to look different. I think I'm just still trying to figure out who I am and figure out who I am outside of intergenerational trauma and who I am breaking out from that. It is so easy to think that you know exactly who someone is or what their story is just by looking at them. When you stop looking at me as the Indigenous girl or whatever label you put on me and you just start seeing me as Alexa or as Lex, I think maybe that is reconciliation. When I can just be seen for me.